So, hi guys, and welcome to the Grounding podcast session today. Today I decided not to go live. Kind of just decided to do a recording today. I did get a request on from someone about from my last video. Remember, I was telling you guys, send me video requests of what you would like me to talk about, or something that you are like being troubled with, and you're like, hey, I want some advice on this. Well, I did get one request, and the request was to talk a little bit about the factor of being used, right? And what does that look like, and like how I feel about that term, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, I want to touch on that a little bit today. Before we get started, as always, I got socks on today, guys. Oh yeah, I can see, but I have long socks on because I feel like it is chilly today. Okay. I still have the same bottle from last time, right? The same, Pinot Noir, Rose. Told you I love the bottle. Told you that I wasn't gonna finish it, quickly. So I still have that, so I will be sipping on that today, and talking about this topic, okay? Tastes even better cold. But anyway, so today let's talk a little bit about factors behind being used, feeling used. Maybe touch a little bit on where does that come from, right? And who determines that, right? So let's first start with being used, right? When you talk about using something, right, you're usually putting it in the terms of objects, right? Like, I used my pen to write my book today, or I used this bottle when it was finished and filled it with water, or I used it and bust somebody over the head. Joking, but you get where I'm going with, right? Using the term use usually go with objects, right? So when someone is saying they're feeling used, it's like they're kind of like demoralizing themselves, or they feel like the person is demoralizing them to less than a personal factor to a objective factor, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm just stating how I look at it, right? And that in a sense will make anybody feel less than, right? Like, that will hurt anyone's feelings, right? Like, feeling like someone doesn't look at you as a human being to care enough to like not do the things to you to make you feel like you're being used, right? Where does that come from? This is where that goes into the feeling. So sometimes a person might feel like they're being used because it's coming from an emotional aspect, right? Because in a sense, we can't, hold on, I'm trying to think of the words to use. In a sense, we all use each other. Let me just start by saying that. We all use each other in a sense, whether it's relationship, non-relationship, friendship, family situations, we all use each other. We all reach out to different areas and factors in each other's lives to gain something from it, right? So you get in a relationship, you go in that relationship, you're gaining something from that relationship, right? Both parties are in some way, somehow, something is being gained. Either it's a lesson, or it's, this person taught me this, or it could be materialistic. But a lot of times people associate being used with materialistic, but really and truly, we all use each other. You go to work, the job uses you to do their work, and you use them to get money to pay your bills. So in a sense, we all use each other, right? Like, you can't run from being used in a sense, because that's how society functions, is by using each other, right? Even back in the days, people used to trade, like, you have bull and oxens, and I need milk, or whatever, and so I'll give you a bull or oxen, you produce milk to me from your cows. I don't know, I'm just using examples, right? That's trading, which is still using each other, right? So in a sense, we all use each other, right? It's just it becomes hurtful when you're doing something with expectation of something behind it, right? And so when that expectation is not given, it gives you the feeling that you're being used, because I'm doing this, but I was doing this because I want this. And you're not telling the person that that's what you want. Or you might be telling them, and they're not reciprocating back to you what you're looking to gain. So then now you feel used, because you're not gaining what you were doing what you were doing for. If y'all hear my dog's stomach growling, I hope not. It's making some funny noise over there. It's creeping me out. But anyway, so a lot of times that feeling of being used occurs because when you're doing whatever it is you're doing it. I'm trying to make sure. Took that right there. You're doing whatever you're doing because you're expecting something back. And then when you don't receive what you specifically are expecting back, then you feel used. So I feel that's where it comes from, right? That feeling of being used, that's where it comes from. Because you might do something and the person might reciprocate something, but they're reciprocating it in the way they show their affection, right? It's like a man is talking to a girl. The girl tells him, hey, I think we should just be cool. Or she's like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for something yet, right? But the man is like buying all these things, doing all these things, because he's hoping, right, that he does that and it changes her mind. But then when it doesn't work, then he feels used. You know what I'm saying? Because what he is looking for is not what he's getting back. She's giving him time and attention, but she's not giving him what he specifically wants, right? Like, if he's doing that stuff because he's like, yeah, I want you to sleep with me, and I want to, like, be in a relationship with you, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then she's like, well, I'm giving him time and attention because that's all I can give you, and I told you that, but you went with the intentions of gaining more than that. Then now you're like, oh, I feel used, right? And vice versa, right? A female see a guy, she's like, oh, this dude, he's cute, I like him, but he got money. I'm a mess with him because he got money, right? But she's messing with him with the intentions of what he has, right? And not of her actual emotion. Like, it's not coming from her actual feeling for him. She's just messing with him because she feels like he has stuff to give her. And so when she does it, then she feels like, oh, that nigga used me, I slept with him, and he ain't do nothing for me, or whatever the case might be, and it's not coming from a pure place, then you're gonna feel used. So I use that example as using the male version and then using the female version of it, right? So overall, if you're doing something, do it from your heart and make sure that you don't have intentions of gaining something that's not emotional behind it, right? Like, instead of just looking for tangible gain, if that makes sense, okay? So I feel like that's where the using thing come from. Like, if someone tells you that, hey, this is what I'm not looking for this, I'm looking for this. Yeah, it's possible, don't get me wrong. A prime example of that, it's possible that you're like, this is what I plan on doing, this is what it is, and I'm not changing my mind. But then you might come across somebody that make you change your mind from what you were always doing for years, right? But it might come, most likely that will come from an emotional place, right? Like, it will come from an emotional place where you're like, oh, I really feel this way, and I don't want to change what I do, but this person's making me feel this way where I feel like I want to change what I do. So then when that happens, you're not really having a lot of regret behind what you did because you chose to do it without gaining tangible things behind it, or without gaining anything more than what the person already told you they feel, right? And that's just a personal example I just used. But yeah, so just make sure you're coming from a loving place, a pure place, when you're choosing to do things, right? Or when you're looking to do things like for someone or with someone, just make sure it's pure and it's real, right? Because that kind of lessens the factor of being used or feeling that. I mean, you're going to feel that regardless, right? I feel like it's valid to feel that way if you truly came from a pure place, right? And you actually love that person and you like gave your vulnerability to them, right? Like, and that person knew you were coming from a pure place, right? And you showed that, and then they took advantage of that innocence and pure place that you're coming from, and then they abused that. Now that is a valid place to say that person used me, right? But in the end of the day, if someone does that, they're not gonna get away with it. You might not see the turnaround that happens for them, but God don't like ugly, honey, okay? God does not like ugly. So even if somebody does do something that bad, they'll get their well deserved. And I said this before in my last session, because I had an experience that, and this is not now, this isn't recent, okay? But a long time ago, I had an experience where I felt like the person was coming from a pure place, right? And I thought they were coming from a pure place. And they had, like, you know, well, we all have mothers and sisters, and, you know, some of us may have daughters and stuff. But for some reason, I feel like men with daughters should be more caring for females' hearts, right? Because if they truly believe of how God works, right? Like, because you don't want that turning around on your child. And I think I spoke on that before, because I saw a situation where that happened to someone. And when it did, even though they did the wrong to me, when it did, I still, like, you know, talked them through what happened, helped them talk with their child through what they were going through. Even though I'm like, sir, that's the same thing you did to me that's happening to your child right now. You know, but if, I always say this, if you do not pay attention to the omens, if you do not pay attention to the signs, you will miss your lessons. You will miss what you're being taught. You will miss, you know, the focus. You'll miss so many things that God is trying to show you. So it's very important that you pay attention. Like, pay attention to things that happen to you in your life. Like, you feel like you're always being used, or you feel like you're being used, sit down and think to yourself, like, okay, this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? Is it something that I am doing that's causing the same chain reaction, right? Or is God making me go through these lessons over and over again because I'm not learning from it, right? So I am a very strong believer in sitting back when something happened and searching yourself first, right? It's so easy to just say, this person did this and this person's wrong. I can't stand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I cannot stand them. They get on my nerves. That's the easiest thing to do. Blaming is the easiest thing to do. So easy, like so easy to do. And even if you're not blaming someone else, sometimes you blame yourself. I'm a victim of that. Like, I will bash myself so bad. Like, I make a mistake, like, oh, you dummy, you knew, or you felt it, you did it anyway. You so stupid. Like, you know, and is that healthy? No. But we all do it because it's easy to like point the finger, right? It's so easy to point the finger at everyone else or point the finger at self, but in the negative aspect, right? Like what I just said. But the hard thing to do is to seek. It's a difference. It's easy to point finger, right? Even at yourself. But it's hard to seek inside, right? And search yourself and see, okay, where is it that this faltered? What is it that I could have done better? Or if there's nothing I couldn't have done better, what is it that God want me to gain from this? What is the lesson, right? So sometimes we have to look at that too when we're talking about being used or feeling used, right? Or maybe creating more healthier things for ourselves so we don't have that feeling, right? Like, I feel that in a relationship, when you're in an intense relationship and it falls apart, right? And while in the relationship, you're like, this person was doing this, I did everything for them, and they still were doing this. You kind of know, right? You kind of saw it. You saw them still doing the same behavior, even though you were changing things to try to adjust to change that behavior, right? Because you were trying to change them. And sometimes it's more important to see people for who they are, right? Reach them where they're at is the term I want to say, right? And then once you go where they're at, if you're able to, right? If you want to, because that's a choice. And choose if you really want to, because if you don't really want to and then you do it and that person don't change that behavior and they continue to stomp on your heart or treat you how they're treating you, then you wind up feeling used because you went out your way and out of yourself to do something unnormal to you to reach that person where they're at, and then they didn't change anything about themselves, right? You only compromised, that person didn't compromise. That in turn will make you feel used, right? So I do feel that that term use has a lot to do with self sometimes, right? Like being able to do something and say, you know what, well, I did it, you know, and don't bash yourself too much about it, but just feel like, what's the lesson? What should I do next time? Oh, I'll never break my thing, or, you know, yeah. But I don't feel like if you did something and someone used you, you should do that, take that out on everybody else, right? Because sometimes we mess up that way. We truly do. Sometimes we truly do mess up that way. So I talked a little bit about, I said this wasn't going to be long, but I talked a little bit about, the feeling of being used. Where does it come from? And what does that look like? I think I talked a little bit about that too, right? And if you feel like you're in a situation that's unhealthy for you, step away from it. You know, step back, take a moment and think. Because sometimes we think we're being used and we're not. It's just that we are taking past situation into our current situations, and then we are judging the current person based off the past situation. And so sometimes we have to take a step back and say, hey, is this person really doing this? Or is this in my head? Right? Like, because I'm the number one victim of being, not victim, I'm the number one perpetual criminal of being in my head, right? Like, I do that a lot in my head. And because I do that a lot, it's important that I'm in a relationship with a intellectual person that can understand my feeling to say, correct that, but not with aggression, not with like, oh, what the hell, making it into an argument. Make it be about them and not, hey, my significant other is going through these thoughts in her head. Let me give comfort to that, right? Or he's going through these thoughts in his head. Let me give him comfort to that, because until he gets comfortable enough to say, okay, I don't need to have those thoughts anymore. Because one thing about me, I might be in my head, but once you reaffirm that a couple times, like, and show me that it's in my head, I will accept it and you won't hear it from me again. Like, it's not going to stay that way. So, not saying that's the case for everybody. I'm just saying for me, I am definitely a victim of being in my head. But do I stay in my head if you are showing me different? No. Because I actually have that conversation with myself, and I search myself and I seek myself if it's coming from me or if it's coming from actually the actions of the person, right? So things like that sometimes can make you feel like you're being used, or say, hey, this person is using me, because it's really in your head and you're carrying one thing into the next, right? So yeah, that's just a little bit about, being used and feeling used. But if you truly see it's not in your head and that person is really taking advantage of you, you are doing things, right? You can't say, oh, this person came to my house and I made them stay at my house and they didn't do nothing with me, so I feel used. That's not being used, right? That's not being used. Or you went to that person's house, that person came to your house, y'all hung out. It's not being used. I don't care what the reason is for the visit. It's not being used. Like, being used cannot be titled as being used if the person told you what they were looking for, where they're coming from, and what they want, right? And you pursued something that was told to you, and you just decided that you can change that. That was your feeling of feeling like you can change that. They didn't tell you you could. You were chasing after something, assuming that doing things will change that. So this is where you have to seek within yourself and say, hey, maybe I should not do that. And if a person tells me what it is, I should accept it, right? And if it changes and they choose to do different, guess what? It's better, because then they're choosing to, and it's coming from a pure place and not from a place of what you do. Even if you do these things and you buy them all these things and then they sleep with you, do you really want that? Because it's not coming from a pure place. It's not coming from a place of love or care. It's coming from a place of materialistic. So do they really love you, or they just love what you are doing? Right? So you really have to kind of sit down with yourself sometimes when you're talking about being used. You really have to sit down with yourself sometimes. Not just with yourself, but sit down with God, right? And prayer works. Don't get me started on that. All goes well, sooner or later I'll be able to prove to you that prayer works, okay? But prayer works. I mean, I can prove to you otherwise, but just basing off my own situation, but prayer does work, right? I've prayed for things, I've said things, and see them manifest. I've seen them manifest because I look, right? I pay attention to the signs and the omens. I pay attention to that. Can that be sometimes manipulated against me? Yeah, it's possible, right? But if it does, I sit and I'm like, hey, what was the lesson? Right? Do you want to have to do that? Go through that? No, nobody wants to go through pain and hurt, but thus is life, right? Yeah. So again, we all use each other, right? Please remember that. We do. We all use each other in some way, right? Job use you. You work. You use job too, right? Like, we all use each other. Like, even if it's just, I call my friend and I talk to her. hey Leia, blah 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 blah, you know, call my cousin, hey Kiki, you know, such and such, like, hey Val, you know, like I call and I talk to them, they call me and talk to me, they might ask me advice on something, right? And I'm giving advice. Do I talk to them every day? No, I barely talk to them, but we are connected in that way. We are family, we love each other like immensely. Something's go wrong, yeah, they're gonna be down here quick, fast, in a hurry, and whoever it is better not be around, okay? Like, so we all use each other, like, even if it's just for mental advice, even if it's for mental comfort, even if it's just to like, okay, I just need somebody to talk to right now, or this happened, I need somebody to show up for me. It's still, in a sense, you're using that person, right? Because you're doing something. It's an exchange of some sort. And so any form of exchange, people consider using, right? Like, if it's not to your liking. I feel like we all have exchanges. Let me say that. And so people take the exchanges as using if they're not gaining what they want out of that exchange, right? So I really hope this helps somebody. I'm actually almost finished with this glass already. And that bottle's gonna go back in the fridge. Yeah. But we all need to pay attention to things that happen in our lives. Pay attention to ourselves. Pay attention to, you know, as I said, the omens or the signs. You know, like, you have to pay attention, because if you do not pay attention, then things will miss you. And you will miss it, right? Whatever it is. And so it is very important to do that. So someone wrote me and asked me to talk a little bit on this. So that's why I chose to talk a little bit on this. Just so you know, guys, I am going live when I go to New York on the 24th. If I actually go to the tree, because I'm supposed to go to the tree with my daughter when I go up there. So if we do that, I will go live for a short second, just to tell all my Grounding Podcast people Merry Christmas. If I don't, Merry Christmas now. But I'll make sure I go live regardless to tell y'all Merry Christmas. I am. Regardless, even if I don't go, I'm going to find time to get on and say Merry Christmas to y'all, because I love y'all. I love y'all supporting me, showing up for me. I am going to try to do another wine session. Y'all remember the wine session we did, right? With the wine company. Make sure y'all look out for that. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to set something else up with her, get some different wines for us to try and talk about. So looking forward to that again. So make sure y'all look out for that, and I will tell y'all when that is. I know sometimes I'm like, I forget, right? Like, so bear with me. I'm still human, right? Like, I'm still human. I still have an actual life outside of this. So be mindful of that, okay? Give me grace, please. So I will be doing that, but I am going to go live to make sure I tell y'all Merry Christmas. Okay? So I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining today. And I will be on for Christmas Eve. Quick live, maybe 5 minutes. And or less maybe. But I will be on a quick live then. And then the next session, which is not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. Oh, and I am going to be doing a session with a special guest soon, talking about hip-hop culture and, you know, 90s to now music, right? Like our age group. I ain't going to say my age. But our age group and the now music, the difference between that. So that is coming too. That might be a 2-session thing, but that is coming. That guest is very intrigued in doing that, so I'm very excited to have him on. and to do that. So make sure y'all look out for that too. That will be fun and interesting. And we'll have different people come on to say what their favorite songs were. Okay? So I love y'all so much. Let me go ahead and drink the last of this. Okay, all done. I love y'all so much. Thank y'all. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow, share. I'm tired of telling y'all over and over again. It is so free. It costs nothing, like literally nothing, to just share and support. If we just do that more often, like, it would be so much better for us as a people. Like, yeah, so go ahead, like, share, send to people, send it all over the place, okay? And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, so when I do go live, I can tell you Merry Christmas as well, okay? So thank y'all. Make sure y'all stay grounded. I love y'all.